Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing my VCT America's Week 3 Power Rankings. I'm going to go through all 11 teams, rank them into these 5 tiers. I do this every week, so if you guys enjoy, leave a like and subscribe. You can track how my power rankings change every week. I also do player rankings on my Twitter. I just tweet out like how it's pretty similar to the power rankings, except it's in a spreadsheet, and I just tweet out like with the changes, like how far players are moving up or down. Um, and yeah, I do that for Pacific, Americas, and EMEA every week. I also do VOD reviews on my Twitch sometimes. It's getting less and less common as I am watching like 3 VODs a day of like Pacific, just because I get behind on them for whatever reason because I'm lazy. But yeah, go check that out. Go follow that, and I'll probably be doing more like when it's not within the actual VCT season, and I'm doing like tier 2 player VOD reviews and everything like that. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video. So we'll start out here with the bad tier. I don't think there's too much explanation needed, honestly, for these two. I got Fury and EG here. I don't normally reveal 2 teams at a time unless it's like the top 2 teams, but I don't really think there's much to say about either of these teams. Furia just got absolutely embarrassed by NRG. They looked horrible in that game, and NRG just kind of dog walked them. And then EG, outside of the first map where they looked okay, kind of just got dog walked by C9 as well on the other 2 maps, which is probably even more embarrassing. But they won the first one, so it was not as bad. And yeah, overall, I don't really have any hope for either of these teams. Like, they're not going to be doing anything, at least this split. And EG's not making roster changes, and I don't think Furia is making big enough changes to actually matter down the line. So that's why I have these 2 teams here. Then we have MIBR moving down 1 spot. They're a really weird team to rank because they looked good at kickoff, I thought. They're a pretty solid team, had nice ideas and everything, but they really struggled with like actually executing the ideas with the like I'm just gonna say bad roster pretty much. It is like not good. And I think the bad roster really showed against Crew. I thought they had some decent ideas in that game, and they just lost every fight to Crew's firepower. I think they should beat these 2 teams below them pretty handily most of the times, and then maybe be able to punch up into like it's like C9 G2 teams with like not a ton of firepower but look pretty good. But I think against teams like Crew and just all the top teams with the top players in Americas, I don't think they have a chance. Then we got these mid-table teams starting with Crew. I thought they're playing very like simple and good Valorant with a lot of firepower. Yeah, Kesnet and Heat kind of popping off most of the rounds. Like, they're doing a lot of the fragging for this team and just like the entry work and everything like that. And then I think Shy is a really good Sentinel player. Adds quite a bit of like just stability. Like, every week he's going to be pretty good. Won't give you like he won't like take over games or anything like he did at LCQ for Leviathan sometimes, but I mean that's very rare. So like he can do it, but it's not like likely. Melzer I think has been fine, but like, dude, they swapped him off IGL to make him more comfortable as an individual, but it just hasn't really done too much. Like, obviously he was really bad at kickoff, but like for LCQ last year in champs, I thought it's about the same level, if not worse now. So I don't know. That's just me. The reason I have them this low, though, is because you have the 2 teams they've beaten are Furia and MIBR, my 11th and 9th ranked teams. So I do think they are a decent bit better than both of those teams, but I don't know how much they're going to be able to punch up into the top of Americas. And I think we'll really learn that this week. I think they play like Loud and somebody else. I think Loud and EG, which they're going to beat EG, but I want them to play a good team first before I really rank them as one of the like great teams in Americas. Then moving on to Cloud9, they had a really slow start. They have had slow starts against Leviathan and against EG. But overall, I thought they looked really good in the second 2 maps. I know everybody's going to want to talk about Oxy because, I mean, he's fucking insane. I think I was kind of down on him after kickoff, honestly, just because I thought there were too many times where he was kind of throwing rounds away. but I think he's fixed a lot of that, honestly. I think he's significantly better in terms of that and is still fragging to the same level, which is insane. So he's the truth. He's going to continue to be really good for this team. But honestly, I think the biggest reason why this team is succeeding, maybe it's this team versus the kickoff team, is bringing in Rooney here, actually. Um, I thought it was really good to get a initiator player who can play like the Sova, the scan stuff, all that stuff, along with being able to play the Viper. Because I think one of the biggest weaknesses of having a player like Zeppa is that he's a flex player, but he can't play the Viper. Like maybe Zelsis can, like Rossi and Pacific can, players like that. Um, I feel like that was a big issue with him, but I think that is kind of solved here, where like he doesn't have to do that anymore, which is very good. All right, sorry for the cut. My mic just randomly cut out for no reason. But what I was gonna say was Vanity, while his fragging has definitely taken a dip, transitioning over to the smokes. I think a lot of his utility is much better on the smokes. Like it is just his natural role. And also his calling is just so much better. I've said this multiple times throughout the videos. I'll probably stop saying it after this one, but I just love that move. I thought it was so obvious to me after they dropped Jake that that's what was going to happen. So now that they did that, I'm very happy. And yeah, moving on. We have G2 at number 6. I think this is going to be a little bit high for some people because they did play terribly against 100 Thieves. Icy, I thought was pretty bad. I don't think he was as bad necessarily as some people were making it out to be. I thought he was generally doing his job, but sometimes doing a bit of trolling, like, and just not winning fights in general. Like, there was a round where he killed Valen with his Raze ult. I'm pretty sure it was Valen, but he killed a teammate with his Raze ult on split, which was not ideal. Obviously, you don't really fault him for that much because, like, Zekin did it twice in the same series and Sentinels won. And nobody talks about Zekin as being a bad Raze player or a bad duelist at all. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. I thought he was actually pretty good week 1, and then that was just a terrible showing from him. I hate the solo Yoru stuff that they did on Bind. It's just, you can't run it. You can't run solo Yoru on really any map outside of Breeze, I don't think. It's not enough of a dive agent. Like, you have to use a smoke to cover the Yoru TP, and even then, I don't. Like, that's too telegraphed for my liking. I just think most of the times Jet or Raze are just better on those maps. And honestly, G2 is just a weird team to rank because of how well they played week 1. I thought they looked like a top 4 team in America's week 1, like that level of good. And this week they looked like a bottom half team in America's. So it's very weird. I'm going to leave them like right in the middle here just to kind of hedge my bets. I think they're a team that could move way down, maybe into this just like confusion tier with MIBR, or they could even move back up into the great teams tier depending on how they play. Just a very big week for this team, in my opinion. And then moving on to the great teams, where we're going to start with Leviathan at the bottom, moving up 1 spot. I thought they looked really solid this week against Sentinels. I do think they kind of squeaked by, just with insane Osboss performances on both maps, but overall, I do really like how they looked on both. They looked like they were playing much more just like together and as a team than they were week 1 or at kickoff. And I know it's insane to say, but I don't think they're completely reliant on Osboss to drop 30 to win games. Like, maybe you need Osboss to drop 30 to beat Sentinels or NRG, but I don't think you need that to necessarily like beat some of these great teams like mid-table in Americas. To be like a really good team in Americas, I don't think you need that. Obviously, you need him to play well still because, I mean, he's by far their best player. Yeah, I like how they looked. I do have them a little, I don't know. This might be a little high for some people and a little low for others. I'm just kind of waiting for them to maybe beat or to look good for another week. Because I was gonna say beat a good team, but they just beat Sentinels. So like I don't know. They they it's not like they beat like the Madrid winner form Sentinels, because I think Sentinels just played significantly worse. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Um, but yeah, I want to see them do it again and kind of destroy a team. Or I know they play NRG this week in the Super Week. Maybe not beat them, but look very competitive versus them. Something like that. I would really like to see that from this team, and then I could move them up. But honestly, these other teams in this great teams tier are also really good, including 100 Thieves, who, I mean, they just look like they're starting to click, man. Uh, I thought Asuna on the Rays looked so good on both maps, and not just split, because I think people are going to look at that. I think like 10 and 17, like 5 and 8 first bloods or something like that. I looked at it beforehand and I forget it now. So I'm going to go look it up while I'm talking. Um, but he was just throwing himself in there and letting his team trade him out and having his team win the round for him pretty much. Yeah, 10 and 17, 5 and 8 first kills. Um, I thought, dude, I thought he looked really good. He was getting entries a fair amount of the time. Like, yeah, the defense side, he didn't do a ton, I don't think. And he had some moments where he trolled on bind. Um, but overall, I do think he's a really good player. And then, like, split, he played even better than that. He was always getting his entries looking really good on some of the rounds. Um, and I just think every individual stepped up to a different level. Like, Boostio played a lot better. Bang played a lot better. Cryo played a lot better, especially than he did week one. But I think it was more of the level that he did at kickoff. And then EU is the big piece here, I think. If he is hitting on any given day, they can beat any team in Americas. I fully believe that. They could. Now, do I think they are better than NRG if that happens? Probably not. But I think on any, like, on a day maybe where NRG's slipping a little bit, where 100 Thieves is looking really good, I think they could take a game versus NRG. And I think that's a really good sign, being able to take one of those games, or against Sentinels as well. Like, EU is not hitting in that Sentinels game. Don't get me, like, it just wasn't happening. So I think if 100 Thieves plays Sentinels again in playoffs, which is a matchup I'd honestly like to see, despite these teams playing each other over and over again, I think 100 Thieves would have a lot better of a chance than they did in week one, just because I have seen EU hitting on this team. So as a 100 Thieves fan, very happy about how they looked that week. I do want to see them doing it again before I move them up above our third place team, which is Loud, who had a bye this week. Not much to talk about, but I still believe in this team, more so than 100 Thieves and Leviathan. But if Loud don't look as good, and 100 Thieves and Lev continue to look like they did last week, then I think I might move those teams up above Loud. All right, now moving on to our top two teams here in Sentinels and NRG. And right now, I'm going to take Sentinels as the number 2 team and NRG as the number 1. I don't know. I think this is fairly consensus, honestly. I just think NRG looked so good week 1. I had some doubts about like their kickoff. I thought they looked really bad and really disappointing at kickoff, for their standards at least. But my God, this is the team that was advertised. I'll talk about NRG first, and then we'll talk about Sen. Um, I think the calling just it literally looked FNS-esque, and it makes me wonder how FNS would look in a different system calling. If maybe he wouldn't look as good as he did, because surely Crashies and Victor are helping with the mid rounding, and even Marv probably. Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's just insane. All the players are hitting on this team right now. They have a much better read on the meta. I think this team's probably the best team in the world right now, and I don't know how hot of a take that is. I think it's more hot of a take to say they're the best team in the world than the best team in Americas, but they're clearly, like, these two top teams in Americas I think are better than the top teams in any region right now. I fully believe that. Now, Sentinels, I'm not really panicking. I think this honestly has more to do with NRG looking better than them looking worse than NRG, if that makes sense. Like, it's not them moving down, it's NRG moving up. Um, but they were really bad versus Lev. I thought they were really like forcing plays and trying to win when they were down. Zekin had a really bad day. And I think Tens had a kind of an off game personally. And then John, like this is what I expected this team to look like week 1 when they didn't have like any rest, any prac, no nothing. Like why is it coming out against Leviathan? It's probably because they just played 100 Thieves and Sentinels just is unable to lose to 100 Thieves for some reason. Um, which is really annoying as a 100 Thieves fan, as you'd expect. Um, I don't know. They looked really disjointed, and I think they kind of need some sort of break, maybe. But they really can't afford to do that because they need the championship points. They need these wins to make playoffs and make it to Shanghai. There's just no real break, and like I hate that the schedule is so condensed, but it had to be this way with China and everything like that. So it's whatever, but it's still annoying. Um, but yeah, this is it for my America's Power rankings. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This is a very interesting week, and we got a super week coming up where each team plays 2 teams outside of 100 Thieves, I believe, because every team in that group gets a bye week, and 100 Thieves is technically that week. So they only play 1 instead of 2 games, if that makes sense. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.